We'll try this again. Got that link right there.
What is it showing on your end?
Hell, I just popped up in the screen.
Okay.
Do I go with default? I believe Mac Pro speakers. Yep. I think it's already on that. Okay. I don't know what to do here. Do I just? I guess leave it like this.
Man, yeah.
Join studio, maybe. Please select the option for the headphones. Okay. No, I'm not.
I don't want to use the
Okay.
app. I want.
There we go. What you see on your end?
And the app ain't letting me record. I'm just using like the desktop version, so just 1 second.
All right, YouTube Live, thank you. This is the Great Debate Show. We're about to get this thing started. Just recapping Week 9 in the NFL. I'm YouTube Live and about to be Facebook Live. Just working out a few small issues on the other end, and we're going to get started. Lions and Texans, that was a good game. Just ended. Lions still finding ways to get the win, just like the Chiefs are. That's what good teams do, though.
What good teams do.
Yep, find a way to win. Another team that we're going to talk about in a minute that's not very good is the New York Jets. They get back to their losing ways again. And it's time to start taking the Arizona Cardinals a lot more serious than what people have been doing. Me and Nick had a few debates about that earlier in the year. And I think it's time for me to go ahead and stand on what I said. And they're a little better than even I suspected. So shout out to them. That's one assistant coach that the Eagles once had that's doing a good job as a head coach. Can't say so much about Shane Steichen. The coach lost. And he's still saying he's sticking with Flacco. But, Terrence, we're going to talk about that here briefly because he should not be sticking with Flacco. I don't know. At some point, you got to let this young guy get out there and play and see if you can let him cook. Or he's going to be in the unemployment line like some of these other coaches are already starting to get the boot. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. We're just about to get started here. The Great Debate Show available wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or the Amazon Music app. Also, YouTube and Facebook, you can go join and follow the Great Debate Show on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. Y'all bear with us, man. Thank you for joining us here on YouTube Live. Just bear with me. So is there a reason why I don't see you in here yet, T, or?
Man, so you were in there unless you can see yourself.
Yes.
Man, he keep telling me I've been disconnected from the session. I don't understand what's going on. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I can create a link, but I can't. For some reason, I couldn't join it. I'm not even trying to go into the desktop. Why did you take that out?
When I click on people, yeah, I'm not seeing anything right there either. So, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Can you record? Does it give you the option to record?
It gives me an option to leave, share, and that's about it. I don't see.
Recording on the top right part of the screen.
I don't know if that's record or not. I see a little mic to click on right there by my name under guest, but I'm not sure.
Mute or unmute yourself.
Okay, well then no, there's nothing to just straight hit record.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Do you have to be out the phone maybe to follow that link through your?
No. Let me try that. Yeah, let's try that. I didn't think about that.
Okay.
Let me try that.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry about the inconvenience. Just trying to get this remote, this video call to work so we can go ahead and get this thing started. Again, I'm ready to dive into week 9, the recapping week 9 of the NFL. And hey, I got Ole Miss right yesterday, but I did not get LSU right. I went with 2 upsets on a 2-leg parlay, and I got Ole Miss number 16 upsetting Georgia, number 2 Georgia. But man, Alabama really spanked LSU. I said, Kelly was overrated though. I've always said Brian Kelly I thought was overrated, and he definitely showed it. All right, so got Terrence in, and we're about to get this thing started now. Then all I have to do is click live right here on this one, and we'll be good to go. I got another email from you, but I don't need to accept that one though, do I?
Okay. No, don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. So we'll hit record right here, and we can get it going.
All right. Look, we're the same color again.
Yo. Let's go. It's the Great Debate Show with your host, Jarvis Jeffries. I got Terrence Smith back in the building with me, and we're about to get this thing started. A new episode. Nick Ely still not in, but we'll get him back here at some point here, we hope, on the Great Debate Show. He's still with us. He's just, we kind of switched things up, short notice. Again, we decided to record tonight for all of you who won't hear this until Monday morning. We started on a Sunday night. We usually don't do that. We wait until after the Monday night game, but I'll just come on out and say it right now. If the Rams win, good. Kudos for the Rams. I said that they would win the NFC West. If they lose, it's no problem. They still have time to win the NFC West, as tight as it is. And as far as their opponent, the Dolphins, their season is over with, whether they win or lose. The end. So there's not really a lot to talk about when it comes down to tomorrow night's football game, in my opinion. Other than, Sean McVay versus Mike McDaniel should be an interesting matchup, but I don't think it's anything that we had to wait on. So let's get into week 9. Week 9 of the NFL is almost in the books, except for the one game that we got on Monday Night Football. We just wrapped up Sunday slate of games, a lot of slate of games, but it was the Lions defeating the Houston Texans in almost an overtime game, but they won in regulation with a game-winning field goal, 23-20, or is it 26-23? 23-20? 26-23. I was right the first time. They get the win over the Houston Texans. It looked like the Texans were going to win this game. They kind of, had this game and was in control for most of it, but the Detroit Lions just would never go away, and they would never die. And because of that, well, here we are. They get the win, and they move on now to 8-1? 8-1 in the NFL, while the Houston Texans dipped down to 6-4 in the AFC South. Now that loss doesn't hurt them at all because Shane Steichen and the Indianapolis Colts can't seem to win games here, even though they had their chance today at home hosting the Bills without Amari Cooper for 2 straight weeks and without Keon Coleman. So they had some guys out at the receiver, and they still couldn't get the win. He went with Flacco a few weeks ago, Lost to the Vikings last Sunday night. Lost today. Hey, make sure your volume is up, T. Let's see. Or is that on? I want to make sure that's not on my end. Your volume. I hear you. It just seems like you could be a little bit louder, but I do hear you. Okay, go ahead though. Oh wow, first play of the game, he threw a pick. Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Sanders and throw a defensive lineman off of him. Hell yeah, he was tired. Any normal human would be tired.
Yeah.
Now, should he have checked out of the game? I don't think so. I'm also not Anthony Richardson. But what should he have faked the injury? Should he have called timeout? What's the difference? But I mean, is that egregious enough for them to say, all right, we're just going to sabotage the season? Flacco can come in and play okay, but there's a reason why Flacco has been a backup the past 10 years.
Has it been that long?
And they're not going to say he's a screw. I mean, it's been a minute. Let me see. He won a championship in 12. He was there at 13. I think he was gone by 14 or 15. So it hasn't been quite 10, but it's been close.
Wow. Well, the Indianapolis Colts lose again, and they go to 4-6. And you just wonder at 4-6 with the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Chargers are still winning games out in the AFC West. You just the Bills are running through the AFC East. There's just not a lot of room left for that 7th playoff team, and it's really hard for me to see that 7th team is going to be the Colts, 6 or 17. Did they make a mistake going with Flacco? Should they go back to? How do you even go back to the rookie? I mean, not rookie, but he's damn near like a rookie. He only played half a rookie season. Yeah. He only played half his second season. So, do you go back to Anthony Richardson, and if so, how?
Well, this is the way I see it, Jarvis. If you don't go back to him now, you hinder his growth. So the growth he's supposed to be, like you just said, he's almost a rookie because he didn't play much last year. So that hindered his growth for this year because now he's doing things this year that he should have been going through last year.
Yeah.
And then he'll be going through things that if you don't play him now, he'll be going through things next year that he should be going through this year. So you want to get to a point that this player is progressing and getting better, but you're not allowing him to because of that. That should have been handled internally and get on the field next week. But they are legitimately going to sabotage the season and their franchise over that. And I don't think it's worth it. How do you go back to him? Look at what Carolina has done with Bryce Young. Hey, just give him the ball, man. These guys are here to play football. Just give him the ball.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good analysis right there, T, because now he's starting to get, you know what I'm saying? He's starting to kind of get more acclimated into the offense. He seems to be a little bit more in control at the line of scrimmage. He's actually tucking the ball and taking off, scrambling when need be. He sees the man coverage. Yeah. Okay, I'm gone if I've got a crease in the pocket. So, yeah, Bryce Young getting benched for a few weeks and getting to get back into the lineup seemed to help him tremendously with 2 straight wins here. I don't think he done that at all last year in his rookie year.
And don't look now. But the Panthers are 3-7, and the NFC South is very, very winnable.
Here we go. Now you picked the Panthers when we laughed at you for doing it. And again, the Panthers still may be out of it. I'm not going to, overreact. But T, you never know. The Falcons did slip up today in New Orleans. Excuse me, which I said they would do. Because the Saints had lost 7 straight games. And wouldn't you know, the Saints would win after losing 7 straight games. So now that means the Falcons have dropped to 5-4. I mean 6-4, which doesn't hurt them that much, but they're 6-4 now. So the Panthers still 3 games behind, but they do got the split now with them, with playing them, and yeah, I think that's a split now between the two, and we'll see how it goes. But the Panthers definitely needed a win, and they got it out there in London early this morning, and so Bryce Young gets the win, and we think Anthony Richardson should probably get back inserted into the offense or the starting quarterback for the Colts because they lose another one to Buffalo.
One thing about it, if your team needs a win, play against the Giants, man. They'll do it for you.
Yeah,
they give those things away.
There you go.
So going on a business there, they give them away.
Right. Now going back to the game that was tonight with the Lions and the Texans, though, wanted to get the Shane Steichen and the Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco debate out of the way. It's probably time to go back to the young quarterback. He's saying he's sticking with Flacco. Good luck with that. You're going to have your name called breaking news one Monday morning here coming up, saying that you're fired if you don't get it right and hurry up and make the right decision. But back to the Texans and the Colts. The Texans lose this game to the Lions, and in the AFC South, the Texans still lead the division pretty comfortable. But they're kind of taking some steps back here. This is not the same team that we saw last year that was on a rise. And because they looked so good last year, we thought, man, this team could be in the AFC Championship game or something this year. They could really go deep in the playoffs. But now the offensive line has kind of took a step back. They're not protecting C.J. Stroud as good. They look good tonight. Now, don't get me wrong. This game, they were in control of it for the most part. But the Detroit Lions, being the Detroit Lions, just give me your take on the Texans for the rest of the year. What needs to be done in order for them to, not have a AFC South meltdown? Because we saw that before, where the Titans lost 7 straight after leading the division, and then the Jaguars won like 7 straight and took the division, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I thought the Colts were going to probably, do that to the Texans, but they just can't seem to get any wins here, no matter who's the quarterback. Texans, give me your thoughts on them in the future, and then the Detroit Lions. Are they really the best team in the NFC?
Yeah, as far as the Texans, I think they're okay, but when you're down your 1 and 2 receiver, at some point they catches up to you. I think they really caught up to them this game where they just need to get a few first downs, get one more score. They got in the red zone several times, first and goal, and just could not get it in. That's because they don't have the best skill players out there. Joe Mixon did all he could. Stroud did all he could. Got a touchdown to Michi, I think was the gentleman's name. But at some point, you have to have your guys, and they just don't have the guys right now. That's going to be tough, especially for a second-year quarterback. They'll be fine. They'll still win the division. They won't win by the wide margin they probably could have won by. I know it sounds crazy, but I think Jacksonville might actually make a late push, like you mentioned earlier. They won't be able to catch them, but I think they'll make a late push and make it a little challenging in the end. But right now I think the issue on offense is there's no Stephon Diggs walking through that door, and Nico Collins is unfortunately still out. I think with a hamstring, if I'm not mistaken, so he should be back pretty soon. But missing those 2 guys who, listen, if you're talking about 1 and 2 receivers, man, those guys are up there with anybody. I know I'm very high on Jamar Chase, as I should be after Thursday. Jamar Chase and Higgins. Yeah. Is it Higgins?
T. Higgins.
Is it T. Higgins? Yeah, my brain. I'm very high on those guys, but I think Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs can give those guys a run for the money as a 1-2 punch. I still take Jamar Chase and Higgins. I think those guys are legit 1-1. Jamar Chase being a little better, but Higgins is a number 1 on pretty much everybody else's roster. But with that being said, missing both of those guys is going to pay dividends at some point. And I think late in today's game, especially on those drives where they could have got touchdowns, that's the difference in the game.
Yeah. Okay. And the Detroit Lions, they just are.
And the Detroit Lions are undoubtedly the best team in the NFC. I don't think it's close. I know the Eagles are right behind them with they're 7-2 or 8-2 or something, 7-2. But I don't think it's close, man. If the Lions play their best game and the team they're playing against play their best game, I think the Lions win that game 10 out of 10. So I don't think there's a team over there with the firepower and the toughness to compete with the Lions. They beat you in different ways, but they're explosive, but they play a physical style game, and and even tonight was a game where I'm thinking that Dan Campbell is going to come out and throw everything at you and gamble and go for it on fourth down here and there. He did. I was very shocked at that, and they won the game. And had they done that, I think against you guys, Robert, they would have been in the Super Bowl. So I think he learned his lesson from that, and now he's just coaching to win football games and not coaching to gamble the doggone thing away. I think that makes them better, actually.
Yeah, you could be right. He has still rolled the dice and took chances this year, but not tonight. He did not, and that did get them.
Not tonight. No, he didn't do it tonight.
Yeah, they overcome. Jared Goff's 5 interceptions to rally.
5 interceptions.
And we were just putting him in the MVP candidate, talk, and
yeah.
That definitely kind of takes him out of that for a moment, but they still get the win thanks to a late 52-yard field goal from Jason Bates. From Jake Bates.
At the end of the day, the W is all that matters.
That is true.
I'm not going to do the James Winston, but you get it.
Yeah. So there we go. So the Texans lose and the Lions continue to win, looking like a dominant team in the NFC. I do have them representing the NFC in this year's Super Bowl. All right, so let's keep it moving. As we keep going down the line, I want to ask you a question, Terrence, since you are a diehard Baltimore Ravens fan. Earlier today, the Pittsburgh Steelers had to, coming off a bye week, though, they had to go, they had to go to Washington over there in the DMV area where it's been pretty turned. The Commanders are 7-2 coming into this game. They're just dynamic on offense, explosive. And it's been hard for people to slow them down. The Steelers come in the house today, coming off of a bye, of course, but it looked like they were getting out to a good start. Then it looked like Washington took control, but it didn't really feel like they ever had control, even though they had a 10-point lead.
Right.
The Steelers come back into this game. Russell Wilson, does what he used to do back in the day. Come back, fourth quarter win, and, sign it off, with walk-off touchdowns and things like that. He throws a beautiful, he sails a beautiful pass over the top to Mike Williams, newly acquired Mike Williams from the Jets, and they end up getting the win on the road in Washington. The Steelers get another victory, and they are now 7-2 in the AFC North, still holding on to their top spot, and the Commanders go to 7-3. So the Eagles may lead or be tied for number 1 right now in the NFC East for at least a week because they're 7-2 and the Commanders are now 7-3. How do you tell me about that game? And when you get done, just tell me this. We can talk about the Commanders another time. They're good, so they lost. No big deal. It'll be a good showdown between the Eagles and Commanders Thursday night. That's gonna be great. But right now, tell me, while we're doing all this talk about the Chiefs being undefeated, we're doing all this talk about how good the Baltimore Ravens are, even though the defense is suspect. Are the Steelers really the dangerous team that we should be worried about in the AFC?
Well, let me just, before I even talk about Pittsburgh as a team, I just got to say this. We ain't called Mike Williams' name all year long. Not just the preseason when I was high on the Jets because of Mike Williams. Now, all of a sudden, he gets into Pittsburgh and he catches a game-winning touchdown. When we get on the Jets topic, I got a lot to say about Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Because there's no way in hell he should be catchless over in the Jets. And essentially his mishap is what allegedly caused them to go on and get Devontae Adams in that game where he, according to Aaron Rodgers, he ran the wrong route. But he gets into Pittsburgh and catching game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
Something ain't adding up.
Anyway,
as far as Pittsburgh, man, look, this is every year. And the only difference is this year, as opposed to the past 3, 4, maybe 5 seasons, they actually have competent quarterback play. and it reflects in their record. See, in the past years, they still have the same defense. They haven't really added anybody except Patrick DeQueen. They still have Highsmith and Watt and Hayward and Fitzpatrick. You know, the corners are a little younger. I don't know if they're necessarily better, but they're younger. And you know, they will probably be 500 team. You know, or they may be like a game over 500. But with competent quarterback play and they still have that stellar defense, that stellar playmaking defense. You know, defense isn't perfect, but they make plays that are dangerous. They can beat anybody any given Sunday, and it shouldn't be a surprise. Are they dangerous? Absolutely. You know why they're dangerous? I can see it now. AFC Championship game. Mahomes goes back trying to get a play to get a field goal range. T.J. Watt comes out of nowhere. It's flat, fumble. Pittsburgh picks it up. They're going to the Super Bowl. That's just how quick and easy it can happen. It would be a damn nightmare for me, but that's how quick and easy it can happen. So yeah, they're dangerous. They're dangerous in ways that other teams aren't dangerous. Because you are not going to blow Pittsburgh out. The game is going to be close. And you are going to have to watch for T.J. Watt, who is guaranteed to make a play at some point during the game, whether beginning, middle, or end, to make an impact. Guaranteed is not a you don't pick up a pencil, pick up an ink pen and write it in. It's going to happen. And those guys are dangerous, and now they can beat you on offense a little bit. They're not going to blow you out on offense either, but they can beat you.
Yeah, one thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers is I always thought they if they got a lead, they can win this game. They're going to stay in it. They're going to play defense. They're going to run the ball. But when they got down 10 or more, I'm like, that may be it for the Steelers. And they still found a way to win this game. So when you telling me that a Steeler team like this can also come back from deficits and still win a game, then yeah, that makes them very, very dangerous.
You know why they can come back? You know why they can come back? Hey, you're up 10, you hand them off to your running back, splat, runs into Cam Hayward, strip fumble. Patrick Queen is going to pick it up, and he might take it a distance.
Yeah.
Big is going to pick it up. He might take it a distance. They've got the young brother. I think he's a safety. He goes by, oh, God, what's his last name? Small guy, last name starts with a B. He's so opportunistic, like, if a ball is tipped in the air or something, he's coming down with it.
Right.
We already know what Baker Fitzpatrick does. And shout out to
Joey Porter,
the young brother over there. What's the cornerback? Jerry Porter Jr.
Joey Porter.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Joey Porter. Yeah, he has turned into a really good corner. I remember him coming out of, I think, Notre Dame, and I wanted the Ravens to draft him because I'm like, hey, his dad played for Pittsburgh. If nothing else, draft it to stick it to Joey Porter one more time, to stick it to the Pittsburgh organization one more time. Of course, they didn't, and he's turned into a really good player over there in Pittsburgh.
He has. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are now 7-2.
A lot of respect for him. A lot of respect for him, man. And, you know, I don't care how good or how bad they are versus my Ravens. You will never hear me disrespect Pittsburgh. I always give them their respect, man, and shout out to Coach Tomlin. They asked Coach Tomlin today about the comparison between James Daniels and Lamar Jackson, and Coach Tomlin said to be careful comparing people to Lamar. He's a multi-time MVP. That is Mr. Jackson. I love that. That is Mr. Jackson.
No doubt about it. That was a good game. Give the flowers to Mike Tomlin when it's due, and it's due right now because not only is the team 7-2, it was said through the season early on that when you got two quarterbacks, you don't have either. You don't have a quarterback, and it looks like they do have a quarterback. He knew what he was doing all along. He was able to win enough games with the quarterback that's really still not a starting quarterback in this league, it appears. And then when the starting quarterback was healthy, he hadn't lost a game with him since he returned either. So finding ways to win. Just still beating these games, winning the fourth down call going forward. Some people was like, I don't know about that, Tomlin. And I'm like, yeah, you go for it. Why not? You try to end this thing right now. Don't give Jayden Daniels the ball back. I was actually in agreement with that call, and they didn't even have to snap the ball anyway. They were able to get the defense to jump on the encroachment, and that's ball game. That's what you do. Even whether they were going to snap it or not, give them a chance, and they were able to seal that game. That's good coaching.
Good coaching. You got to be careful. That's coaching.
That is correct. Speaking of good coaching, a lot of people said Gerard Mayo and the New England Patriots were soft. That was the word a few weeks ago. And now they've won 2 straight since they said that. Winning again this week in Chicago, beating the Bears 19-3. They're now 3-7. They finally got a few wins here, which, again, thought they were going to be the number 1 pick. But now they're stringing together a few wins here. They hadn't done this since
the Giants are on the clock.
The Giants are on the clock, okay. Well, we thought the Patriots were too until they won these 2 straight victories. The biggest storyline from this game, though, is my question to you, Terrence. What the hell is going on with this rookie regression, it seems, that we're getting from Caleb Williams? I mean, he couldn't even get the team in the end zone today. Let's see if I can look at some of the stats for him. He was 16 of 30. 16 of 30 for only 120 yards. Swift had 16 carries for 59. Keenan Allen had 5 catches for 44. May wasn't that much better. 15 of 25, $184, but he did throw a touchdown along with an interception. What's going on with the Chicago Bears? Now, again, I know they should have had the Commanders beat a few weeks ago. The Hail Mary. It seems like that took their soul away, and they hadn't been the Bears. They hadn't quite been the same since that. I'm not trying to make excuses here, though, but he's a rookie. We understand that. But it looks like the Bears gave Caleb Williams a little more talent than they gave Justin Fields. Why can't he string together some wins here? And why does it just look like he looks lost out there? Is it him? Is it the coaching? Is it the team as a whole? A little bit of both.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing I said about Fields. The team is not good. And the team is not good enough for a young quarterback to come in and carry them. A young quarterback is not going to fix the holes on that offense or defense. It's not. I mean, you're talking about a defense that has a quarterback turning the fans, and then he gives up a Hail Mary. You know, the quarterback can't fix that. Not this game, but the previous game. Caleb Williams takes a snap, and every time he takes a snap, there's 3 guys going to splat right in his face. He can't fix that. Justin Fields can fix it. The difference is Justin Fields will pull that thing down and take off. And that actually did make up for some of the errors on the team. So they actually won more with Justin Fields than what they probably would have won with most quarterbacks because of his explosiveness. I want to say in the game they beat y'all in the rainy game, and that game that was all flooded. I think they won that game with a Justin Fields long run, right? I think he had a very long run of that game, isn't it?
It was something like that.
It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, it was a monsoon. I know that.
But
yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, how many highlights? There's a tape full of highlights right now of Justin Fields in a Bears uniform taking off down the field and making big plays. But you don't really see that a lot from Caleb Williams because it's not really his game. I'm saying that to say I think Caleb is fine. I think the organization is terrible. And some of these organizations, if they're going to draft a quarterback first, they need to have a veteran quarterback on the staff that can. You don't waste your rookie. You don't want to waste your franchise. And putting them out there right now in these bad situations could be wasting them. And I know they try to. What it is like you talking about after salary cap. They're paying these guys what they're paying them. They want to try to win while they're paying a quarterback. But let me tell you, it doesn't work that way for everybody. The 49ers can do that because they have a good team. So you can put the 299th pick, the 799th pick, the 150th pick, the first pick. And the team is still going to be good because the team is good. But the Bears can't do that. They don't have the system in place. They don't have the pieces in place.
Yeah, I think
they can have a better quarterback and try to help that quarterback out.
Yeah, I think we just saw Dennis Allen get fired last week with the Saints. I think that Matt Eberflus could be the next name to be terminated as a Chicago Bear head coach. I also think Shane Steichen, if he didn't watch it, he could also be on the list too.
You know who needs to get fired?
Who was that?
Whoever made the decision that it was okay to pay Daniel Jones, who is, in my opinion, the worst starting quarterback in the league. Whoever made the decision to pay Daniel Jones and to tell Saquon, just go to Philly. It's okay. Just go over there and hurdle people backwards. It's okay. Whoever made that decision should be fired in the morning. As in now, it's in the morning. It's 1-8. It's 1:11 in New York right now. Fire his ass right now. Because I don't know if you saw how New York lost today, but in overtime, they handed the ball off on the first play of overtime and the running back fumbles. That's after Daniel Jones threw 2 interceptions in regulation.
Yeah, the Panthers did win in overtime.
That says you're not good at your job. You can go and take Daniel Jones with you.
Yeah. So Brian Dable could be another head coach on the firing list.
In my opinion, take him too.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, the Patriots beat the Bears 19-3 in Chicago, and it looks like Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears team is not where Chicago Bears fans thought they would be. They thought that they were a playoff team. I never thought that, but it was mainly because the Packers and the Lions I thought were just going to be too good in that division. You know, and the Vikings came from out of nowhere, and they were pretty good and still are. So, you know, where does that leave the Bears? But a lot of this is just them not playing good football, them not looking like a good football team, and not very well coached. The defense is not bad, but yeah, Caleb Williams and his offense, whatever's the problem, somebody's got to figure it out. Other games, Giants and Panthers in London, we had that early this morning, and the Panthers did get that win, as Terrence was just saying. The Broncos and the Chiefs, that was a pretty big nail biter. The Broncos played good football going into Arrowhead. Still didn't come up with the win, though. A blocked field goal. The Chiefs finding a way to win. As always, they go 9-0. And again, good game for the Broncos, but almost doesn't count. They still didn't get the win. We talked about the Colts losing 30-20 at home to the Bills, and the Vikings were in a game in Jacksonville where Sam Darnold struggled. He's looking like Sam Darnold again, but however, the Vikings still were able to squeak out a win, 12-7 in Jacksonville. Saints with an upset over the Falcons, 2017. The Falcons will be okay, though. We think they'll bounce back, but the Saints just got to win. After 7 straight games, again, I told you all to pay attention to the 7. That streak usually always happens. It's not hardly hit or miss. It's usually hit. And it was the first game for the interim head coach. I can't even think of his name in New Orleans, but that's another reason why they won. Pay attention to those stories and how they do it. The Chargers, nobody's paying attention to the Chargers, but they are still finding ways to win. That's not pretty. A Jim Harbaugh team is never really pretty, but they find ways to just be tough, punch you in the mouth, smash mouth football, play defense, and win games. They beat the Titans 27-17. A team that is probably, well, there's no probably to it, they're doomed, T. Before we get into my 49ers and wrap up this Sunday's edition of Week 9, I want to just ask you about the New York Jets, who lost 31-6 in Arizona. Now, this is a team that was supposedly about to make a run, maybe bounce back, just get their feet wet. Devontae Adams has been here for a few weeks now. Mike Williams is gone. Now, whatever the problem is, let's get it fixed. Let's tighten this thing up, and let's get some wins here. Well, I said the Cardinals will be better. I said their defense is pretty good. Man, they stumped the Jets. Jets didn't even get in the end zone today, Terrence. Where do the Jets go from here? And again, we don't have to focus on the Cardinals. They're 6-4. They still lead the NFC West.
Yeah.
And the NFC West is tight. It looks like there's not going to be a decided winner until we get down to the stretch, to the end of the year. But the Jets, quickly, where do they go from that? Where do they go from here now that they lose again and they are looking at a 3-7 record on the year?
You know what? I actually, for the first time in my entire life, feel bad for Jets fans. This has got to be agonizing. It's got to be agonizing. You get all this hope and hype and Aaron Rodgers, and then he's coming back and he got this and that, and they want to get this, and then they go out and get Devontae Adams. And hell, they don't look any better with Devontae Adams than they did without him. Maybe it's the quarterback. Maybe it's the system. Maybe it's the coaches. But there's something not right about what they're doing. And I think it takes me back to Matt LaFleur and the beef him and Aaron Rodgers had. Because Aaron wanted to do it his way. He didn't want to run the system. Honestly, if we're being honest, Jarvis, in an offense that features Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Williams, what's my boy on the other side? What's his name? Wilson.
Gary Wilson? Yeah.
Gary Wilson, thank you. I think the focal point of that offense should be Breece Hall.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing them on the goal line at one part in the game, and the ball didn't go to Breece. It was like 3 or 4 straight passes. Yeah. And I just don't like the way it looks. And lo and behold, it's never Aaron Rodgers' fault. It's never his fault. But you mentioned this, and people overlook it. But even when he was in Green Bay, all they had to do was beat Detroit to get into the playoffs. Remember that?
Yeah.
And they couldn't do it.
I do.
When's the last time Aaron Rodgers won a meaningful game?
It's a good question, T.
It's been a while. And even some of those games came off Hail Marys. He hadn't won a meaningful game probably since he played the Cowboys in the playoffs or something. Because the last time they was in the playoffs, they were 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand the hype because this guy was good and then he was just okay.
Well, I've been saying all along, T, I didn't get the hype that was surrounding the New York Jets during this offseason, leading up to the season, and even once the season started. I never really understood why the Jets were getting so much hype, so much media love, so much attention. Like, okay, so you got, Garrett Wilson. You've got a few of your guys, but I didn't like the people that he brought in. And they did everything that he asked of them. And I mean Aaron Rodgers when I say he. Robert Sala's gone. Yeah. Nathaniel Hackett, you brought him. Randall Cobb. Now you've got those guys. Cobb retired. Nathaniel Hackett has been demoted. You got Mike Williams out of the building. You got Tay Adams here. What else do you need, bro? What's up? Why can't I get you to pass for 200 yards? 22 of 35 for 151 yards? That's come on, man. That's uncalled for. That's not acceptable.
How many passes did?
35. 151 yards. But look at Kyler Murray's stats. Only 2 incompletions. 22 of 24. 226 yards and a touchdown. And, I think he rushed for 1, too, as well. The little road runner doing what he does. There's no excuse to come into Arizona and lay an egg like that for a team that's supposed to be better and supposed to be, just starting to find their rhythm. What happened to that foundation of youth that Aaron Rodgers that was supposed to have found a few weeks ago? It's just a whole lot of talking about nothing, never being held accountable. And I said weeks ago, a few months ago when this season started, when they started out slow, I told everybody at some point, you can fire Robert Saleh, you can demote the OCs, you can do whatever you want to do. But at some point, you got to point the finger at the last man standing, at one person who will only be left to blame, even though you're finding ways not to blame him. And that's Aaron bleeping Rodgers. At some point, you got to hold him accountable. And he's not playing like the same Aaron Rodgers we once saw. And that's why I always brought up how he played in 2022 when he didn't get in the postseason. And all he had to do was beat the Detroit Lions, who we knew were coming, but they hadn't arrived just yet. Just beat them and you're in the postseason. That's the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers kind of look like Aaron Rodgers, and that was an off year. And I'm tired of people telling me his off year is still better than half of the quarterbacks in the league. Don't give a damn about half of the quarterbacks in the league. That's the bottom half. Aaron Rodgers needs to be Aaron Rodgers, and he's not. And that's the reason why the Jets are not making the postseason, and that's the reason why you're going to hear about some injury that's been bothering him and nagging him, and he's going to shut it down for the season and have a procedure done. They're going to tap out, bow out, and just say, shh, don't tell nobody. Just like, well, okay, we're not going to say that we were just bad. We made bad moves, bad signings, bad trades, or whatever. This is all Aaron Rodgers' fault, and this is the reason why Green Bay said, no, thank you. We know how to play general manager. We're going to do what we do, and we're going to move on. You go on to New York and win your Super Bowls. Yeah, right. And that didn't happen. So I'm actually glad. I told Tay Adams, hey, man, why would you want to go play with Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers when you can go be a Kansas City Chief or a Buffalo Bill or a Baltimore Raven? If this is what you want, this is what you get. I'm glad. This is what they deserve. There was no way in hell the Jets were going to do anything other than what they're doing right now. It's kind of, I feel validated right now. I never believed in the Jets. And at 3-7, I don't care how the rest of the schedule looks. This is it for them. They can't come back from this. I just don't see it. Speaking of can't come back from this, the Dallas Cowboys lose again, 34-6. They get thumped at home to the Eagles. And there's really not a lot to talk about other than I think the Cowboys are tanking, T. And I'll briefly explain why. They didn't go get Derrick Henry. They waited a long time before they paid CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. They're saying Dak Prescott, his hamstring is torn off the bone, and he'll have season-ending surgery, which we don't really believe. I can tell from your facial expression, Terrence. You think that's a bunch of bull. And I think it is, too. I think the Cowboys have been tanking all along. I said in late August, when we came back for the new season, that I can see Jador Sanders being the Cowboys' pick. At number 1 or number 2 or number 3, somehow the Cowboys will find a way to slide up and go get him. And I wouldn't be surprised if his dad, Prime, is the Cowboys' new head coach as well. That's a little package that I put together. Now, I know they paid Dak. I get that. But I can see the Las Vegas Raiders calling to kick the tires on Dak. Hey, that contract, how bad is it? What's the cap hit like? We need a quarterback. I can see the New York Giants, who are on the clock, who, Terrence just told us their quarterback is the worst he thinks in the league. I can see them calling up for Dak. There are several teams that could kick the tires on getting Dak, and the Cowboys moving on, going with their rookie quarterback. I don't know. It just seems like they were not really trying to be competitive this year, and they are not at all. So now, the Dallas Cowboys, with yet another loss, have fallen to, it doesn't matter what their record is, 3-6, but their season is done.
3-6.
We saw Trey Lance for a little bit. But
did you see the play that got hurt on?
I did not.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you. I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
How many, and you've been watching football longer than I have. You're a lot more of an extensive memory of football than I do. How many times have you seen a quarterback take a 3-step drop, lean forward to throw the ball, and grab his hamstring?
Not often. Not much, or if ever.
No.
You're not buying this, are you?
Not at all. I wouldn't buy that shit out of dirt cheap.
That says it all. That says it all. That says it all right there. I don't know what they're going to do with Dak T, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sure if that injury is what they say it is, but we knew they were going to shut him down.
I really think they are. I think you're right, though. I think they're going to try to trade him in all season, and I think Jared Jones loves him so much that he just wanted to make sure Dak got his money.
And he did that?
He wanted to make sure he got his money. Because anybody with any common damn sense can look at that roster and tell that, hey, they were not going to win a championship this year. They just weren't going to win a championship this year. Now, I do think that had they gotten Derrick Henry, he could have made them a lot better to the point where maybe we could ask those questions. But when they decided to not get Derrick Henry, they didn't make any moves in free agency. They really didn't do shit except for that CeeDee Lamb holdout, eventually pay him, and eventually pay Dak. I think they just paid Dak for the sake of trying to get him paid so that whenever if he is playing for Las Vegas, for the Giants, or for the Panthers or whatever the case may be, he's already paid. And maybe after this market, you'll be really pissed at the market after Purdy and all those guys get paid. Dak's quarterback might be team friendly after those guys get paid. You know, he might be the 7th or 8th highest paid player in the NFL as opposed to the first. So I just think Jerry was just looking out for his boy, and that's Jerry Jones for you. But no, I don't buy the damn injury. I don't buy the prognosis after the injury that first it was 3 or 4 weeks, and now it's 8 weeks. Now it's season-ending IR. Now it's off the bone. Now all of this shit's a damn lie. It's been a lie the whole time. He ain't hurt one today. I don't believe it.
Yeah. Bunch of bull jive, as Shay would say. I think that's exactly what it is.
A whole lot of it.
Yeah.
A whole lot of it. Dak, take the signing bonus and go on to Cancun, get your Cancun trip on out of the way, or wherever the hell it is you and your newly and your new fiance want to go. Y'all just go and get your honeymoon started early.
Yeah. Okay, so the Cowboys are 3-6, another loss, and the Eagles keep moving on. They're 7-2, and they got a big showdown Thursday night against the Commanders. We're going to talk about that one. We think we'll have Nick Ely back for that one. Hopefully, he'll be geeked up after the win. If it's a loss, hopefully he'll still be ready to come, do his thing here. So we got to come back for that Thursday night. But as of now, we're going to close this show out. We pretty much talked about every other game. So let's close this thing out with my 49ers, who had Christian McCaffrey return to the starting lineup. It was a lot of talk and a lot of hype about the Niners and how they've got their guys back. And I'm like, did y'all forget that, Brandon Ayuk's not coming back this year? Did you forget that Dre Greenlaw still has not returned just yet? I don't know, but they act like they got the full deck of cards again. And I was like, this is not going to be an easy win. I said it when I had to do a few episodes this past week by myself. I said, T, I think you heard it. I said that, man, they almost beat the champs. The Buccaneers can very well beat the 49ers at home. It was a close game, and if it wasn't for a Jake Moody field goal, they would have won the game. But he nailed a 44-yard field goal as time expired as they beat the Buccaneers 23-20. Now, Kyle Shanahan doing Kyle Shanahan things, running away from the run game. When he did run it, he ran Christian McCaffrey too much. He was not limited on carries, which is foolish for Kyle Shanahan. That's the reason why Christian McCaffrey is just now coming back this season. He just never learns, though. Brock Purdy was 25 of 36, and I still think over 30 pass attempts is too much for Purdy. He had 353 yards, though, and he threw for 2 touchdowns. My problem with that is that Shanahan just gets away from the run. If you watch the game live in action, you're like, okay, why are we passing again? Why are we passing again? First, second, and third down. I don't know. It just seems like Kyle is so focused on showing you why he's going to get paid, what the market says he should get paid next. And it's really costing 49ers games. And they almost lost another one. Field goal kicker Moody came back into the lineup, and they immediately released the kickers that they had signed while Moody was injured. Moody is a 4th-round pick, okay? The punter is like a 5th-round pick, okay? The special teams for the Niners are bad. They barely won this game. He barely won the field goal. Got the game-winning field goal to go in. I'm just saying, I'll take the win, T, but the 49ers have not given me a complete game all season long. Kind of like what I was asking Nick and his quarterback, Jalen Hurts, to do for me. Give me a clean game. And he finally started to do that. Now, he didn't have a clean game today, but he still got the win. The 49ers have not given me a complete game. It takes too long for Kyle Shanahan to say, all right, I guess I better get George Kittle involved in this offense. It takes too long before he realizes how to get Debo involved. He's a gadget player now, it seems like it. They stopped that gadget play that they run so much these days. He doesn't seem elusive anymore. He's not running over people and breaking tackles anymore. He's getting into it with his teammates. After the kicker missed the field goal, he said some things to the kicker. The snapper wanted to take up for him. Debo said, get the F out of here, and he shoved him, and he pushed him in the face. And they asked the head coach, Kyle Shanahan, what do you think about the little scrap, the little scuffle that went on between Debo and the place kicker? and the kicker and all of that. And Cal said, I didn't see it. You're the head coach, brother. You should see everything. And you should be in control of your team. A lot of illegal use of the hand flags that went down on that last drive. Baker Mayfield stiff arm and Nick Bosa off of him to complete first downs and move the chains on a drive that shouldn't have even ended with points, but it did. The Niners defense looks trash. The special teams is definitely trash. I don't know why the special teams coordinator still has a job. I don't know why the defensive coordinator still has a job, even though he did all right down the stretch. But Steve Wilkinson was getting put on the hot seat after every loss or win sometimes. We're not hearing anything about Nick Sorensen, the DC, now. So I'm just saying, it looks like Shanahan has lost his team. They got the win, but it just still seems like they're not the 49ers team. For whatever you got from that game, just briefly tell me what you think about the 49ers going into the future. And again, Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers, I still give them flowers because they fight every freaking week, even though they're not supposed to win these games. Chris Godwin's out for the season. Mike Evans is still out with a hamstring injury. They still find ways to almost win. They just didn't get it done. But again, the Niners win, but did they really win? That's my question to you. The rest of the season, they got to really pile up some wins here. I don't know if they're the team that can do it.
I think you answered it. They're still waiting on some guys to come back. I don't know what the hell is going on with Debo. I don't even know if you saw his pregame wardrobe and his pregame walk into the arena. I'll let you go and find that video yourself. I can just tell you, you won't like it. But I think they're just trying to get pieces back until they're finally that whole team again. I don't think they'll ever be as dominant as they were last year on offense and defense. So if that's what you're waiting on, I don't know if that's going to happen. I think they're missing too much on offense, and they can still very much make plays on defense. Fred Warner, if you got a defense with Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, you're going to make plays. It's just part of it. But it's just not as dominant. The window is not closed, but it's closing. And, so you're going to have some times where you play against teams like Tampa, and you just have to find a way to win. You're going to have some some games where you play against Philly, you just got to find a way to win. That's just, Detroit, you definitely going to have to try to find a way to win. That's the name of the game right now. They just have to try to find ways to win. They can't overpower everybody they play anymore. And Tampa's a good team, so Tampa's going to make it look like a dogfight because it is.
It was. It was definitely a dogfight. No doubt about it. Christian McCaffrey, only 13 carries for 39 yards, but his presence was still felt being back out there. I still didn't think he used him correctly, but that's neither here nor there. Jawan Jennings seems to be the 49ers' number one receiver, even though he sometimes plays in the slot for the most part. He had 7 catches for 93 yards, and he's the guy who put the Niners in position to kick the game-winning field goal. He's the only one who's really making plays. They wait too long to get Kittle involved, and he's still just running him in the ground, blocking him so much over and over. Get a tight end that can freaking block so Kittle can make plays. I don't know how tired I am of seeing Kelsey make play after play, week after week, and he's supposed to be getting older and slower, but he's still making plays. But then I look at Kittle, and it's like, I know he can block. I know he's all around a better tight end than Kelsey, but he doesn't make enough plays, and that's on coaching. If Kittle was really better than Kelsey, like all Niner fans tell me, why doesn't it show on the stat sheet more? That's on coaching. At some point, Kyle Shanahan has to be held accountable. He's lost his team, and that offense has not looked the same since Mike McDaniel went to Miami. And it makes me wonder who was really responsible for that offense looking as good and sharp as it used to look, as it once looked, because it don't look like that anymore. And you can't tell me Brandon Ayuk's absence is not felt because nobody can make plays and get open. Purdy is running for his life, literally, every play, and defenses are saying, we're going to play man coverage because we know y'all can't beat it, and we're going to stack the line of scrimmage and send blitz. That's it. It's been pretty simple. And Kyle Shanahan still says, nope, I'm not going to throw a screen. I won't do it. I won't do it. I mean, I don't get it. Everything that I hear from the media throughout the week on how Kyle Shanahan is such a brilliant offensive mind, I never see it on Sundays. I don't really see that anymore. So anyway, Niners get the win though, and you always take the wins, but again, it was a very ugly one. And next week they've got Seattle, who I think is coming off of a bye. We've played a lot of teams this year coming off of bye weeks, and we didn't look very good at all for a team that was coming off of a bye week. Not at all. Jed York, I appreciate you being silent for the past 7 years, 8 years, but it's time to step back up and be the asshole general manager / owner / chairman that you once were. Because it's time for Lynch and Shanahan to be held accountable for the roster that they put on the field on a weekly basis. This kicker is trash. He's trash. This is what it is. And Debo went over there to let him know, you're trash. And I mean, that wasn't right for him to do that as a teammate, and that was the wrong time to do it. And shout out to the place kicker who stood up for him. But Debo was just saying what all the fans felt at the time. Like, dude, you can't kick nothing, can you? How can you kick a 55-yarder, but you can't kick a 38-yarder? Like, stuff like that. He has the leg, just no accuracy. He's like the kicker of Jamarcus Russell. Like he had a strong arm, but that was it. And that's what we get from him. Like, there's no accuracy, though, with his kicks. He just has a strong leg, but there's no guarantee it's going in. I trust him making a 60-yarder before I do a 42-yarder because it just won't be accurate. He's that bad. Yeah, and this is the guy who was traded up. They moved up and drafted this guy in the 4th round. Who drafts kickers in the 4th round? And he's terrible. Shanahan, man, I'd be so glad when he get fired. I mean, trade deadline passed. It should have been Kyle Shanahan getting traded somewhere. I would have took anybody. I would have took Mike McDaniel in return. Man, I would have took Mike McCarthy in return. But I'm just saying, like, damn it, it's time for this dude to go. The 49ers do not look like the 49ers. And we'll see how the season goes. But I predicted, 7-10? Because I just thought the injuries were going to keep piling on. And whatever. We'll see. That's all I got, though, as far as the games. I think tomorrow night, Monday Night Football, well, I should say tonight now, Monday Night Football between the Dolphins and Rams. It should be a pretty interesting game, but again, regardless of the outcome, there was no need to wait on that game. So again, congratulations to the Lions. They are now 8-1 in the league, and then the Eagles and the Commanders in the NFC East with 7 wins. That's going to be interesting down the stretch. The Jets are officially done. The Cardinals are real, and they still lead the NFC West. And the Chargers get another win at 6-3. People have to start actually thinking about the Chargers. People have to take the Steelers more serious. And this is not a Russell Wilson fluke, it doesn't seem. So, and all of that, and you still got the Ravens who were playing good football offensively. They need to get it together defensively. But this is where we stand right now. Terrence, is there anything you want to say about your Ravens? I know you weren't able to get with me when I did the recap on that show after Thursday night. Is there anything you want to say about your Ravens coming up for Week 10?
Hey, man, I never thought I would live long enough to see a Ravens team that was absolutely god-awful on defense, but historically one of the best offenses in the league. Never thought I'd see that. It just didn't even seem feasible. The defense can be better. They need to go out and get some kind of a pass rush or some kind of a way. I think are we past the trade deadline, or do we have one more week of it?
No, this is it. It's over.
The trade deadline is gone.
It's gone.
So you're going to have to go and sign a free agent or something, but they need some kind of a pass rush. What they need, they're not going to get in free agency. I think this is something they're going to have to draft. They're going to have to get lucky in the draft going forward, for next year. But for this year, just to patch it up, but they need to go out and try to sign somebody that can rush the passer, because that's why the passing game, the pass defense looks so terrible, because the quarterbacks get 5, 6, 7 seconds, and Owe can make plays. Matabuke could of course make plays. Even Van Noy every once in a while can make a play or two, but nobody is the consistent threat that they need to be, and that's the problem with the pass defense.
Okay. Well, they better get it together because they got the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up Sunday in Pittsburgh. Interesting, this will be the first division game all season long for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
all season for Pittsburgh.
If anybody think this is still a fluke, this is the time to stand up now. The doors of the church are open. Say what you got to say about the Steelers, because if they're not for real, it's about the show. But I'm not wanting them to say that. I'm just saying a lot of people think that, okay, but these still aren't AFC North wins. Can they beat Baltimore? Can they beat Cincinnati? We hadn't seen that yet, but we're about to see. Steelers and Ravens on Sunday. That's going to be a good one. The Bears and Packers are playing in Chicago. That should be a good one. I think the scope is on Caleb Williams. Eagles and Commanders Thursday night. Can't wait to talk about that one. We'll talk about it immediately after that game in Philadelphia. This is going to be good. 7 wins apiece for both of them. 7-2 versus 7-3. This is going to be a good game. I can't wait for that one. And the rest of the Week 10 slate as we get it started. We'll be back to talk about some basketball and some NBA action and some WWE, AEW stuff. We'll see how Monday Night Raw goes tomorrow and debate if we're going to come back and give you some wrestling content. But we definitely need to, bring some more episodes in to talk about WWE Survivor Series War Games as that's about to come up. Well, that's all I got. T, I appreciate you getting back in here with me, man. And we will get Nick back in here eventually, we promise. But this is the Great Debate Show, and we're about to sign off. Hope everybody has a great week out there, and whatever you do, be safe.
Peace out, y'all. All right, it's uploading pretty quick, so I'll have something coming to you in a few.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks, man. Go ahead and end it. Yep.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right, man.
Thanks for watching the Great Debate Show. We'll be back Thursday night, right after the Eagles Commanders game, unless some breaking news happens in between that time.